What is up? And welcome to Ask DLF right here on Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. I am joined as always by the famous, not infamous, famous Tyler Karp right here. What's up, Tyler?
I'm good. I hope that my voice is better than it was when I did my shows on Sunday. Sunday night, it was bad. It was bad. I had a towel, and everything. Yeah, I was sick. I don't know what was going on, but the audio quality for that show is like, it would look like I couldn't even hear what I was saying.
But I do
great. Feel better. So my voice is still not 100%. But I feel a lot better. I should be able to talk pretty normally tonight.
They always say the best thing for that is to have tacos, which means it's Taco Tuesday.
No, of course. But Waffle Wednesday. Don't forget for our Australian, there it is. Our Australian listeners and viewers, do not forget about Waffle Wednesday.
And Blake, appreciate you adding that in. I think that's great. Like our Australian folks, it's Waffle Wednesday. We can't forget about them. We can't leave them out. It's not Tuesday why would over there. Yeah, we need to remember that. So happy Waffle Wednesday, but be tough tonight. Blake, if you're from Australia, you want us to be tough anyway. Like those guys are super tough. So no prisoners tonight here, Tyler. He usually doesn't. He's usually pretty tough anyway. If you
I've heard that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Just to set things up, if you're joining us for the first time tonight, thank you for tuning in. We are here to answer just literally every question you can possibly think of for the next 90 minutes. Always leads to great discussion, always leads to being smarter at Dynasty Fantasy Football. Tyler does a lot of writing over at dynastyleaguefootball.com, which just had a great sale. I think you maybe even can still catch some of it. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
But I'm pretty sure that the sale is still going because I just got an email about it today.
Yeah, so make sure you check that out. If you're not a member of dynastyleaguefootball.com, you're missing out on some edges you can have in your Dynasty.
Missing out because I started my Dynasty journey a month after I started joining up my first Dynasty League in 2018. I signed up for DLF. So you see now that I'm hosting this show, right? I must have learned something. So they're the first, the first Dynasty product I ever bought. The first place I ever signed up. I used to be active in the DLF forums under a very different account, but I was there. And, that's a lot of where I learned between the forums and the ADP. I started doing ADP in early 2019 because they just let anyone, do it. But I liked getting to see the data. And, between that and the podcasts, not a big I've never really been big on, I'm not a big reader. So I don't read too many articles from DLF or anywhere else. I read mine. But I've been subscribed listening to DLF Dynasty podcasts since 2018, Trade Addicts since 2019. So I've been around the DLF sphere for a very, very long time, and I wouldn't be here.
We will be taking your questions all night. We also have a question for you with the Christian McCaffrey news. It seemed like a lot of people are completely out in 2022.
Yeah, completely out.
So I want to know from you, who are you completely out on in 2022? If you've got an answer to that question, go ahead and put that in the comments in the live chat.
Oh,
if you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on Twitter, you can't comment on there. Get over to YouTube. That's where all the action takes place.
Forget Twitter.
Yep. And thank you for everybody who's tuning in, who normally tunes in. Appreciate you doing that. Let's have some fun tonight. And we'll kick it off with one entry into who you might be completely out on. How about your guy up there in New York, Tyler, Daniel Jones?
Yeah. I don't know. He is going to miss this week's game, it looks like, with a neck injury. So what he needs is to miss more time. So we don't want that. But I don't know. It's hard to be that out on him because he's not that high. So
it seemed like there was a time pretty quickly, earlier in the season, where everybody was in on him and, saying this is the year. He was adding those rushing yards, dual threat, the forgotten man, Daniel Jones, but that has come down to earth very quickly.
No, he is bad. He is bad. So it's just a question of how soon he gets replaced. Really.
Very good. Mike Glennon starting this week, if you missed that. And here's a good question. This is another example of what we do if you're not used to this. Good question comes in here from Spock 498. Can Jalen Waddle be anything close or similar to Tyreek Hill in the upcoming years? What do you think, Tyler?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think so. I was told, and I've railed on this forever, I was told I was crazy, that I thought that Jalen Waddle was better than Rashad Bateman. I was told that was crazy. I still think that there are some people who are in take lock. They will continue to hold on to their pre-draft evaluation that's irrelevant now. That, Jalen Waddle wasn't very good. They don't think that he's very good. I mean, I don't care. He is a dynamic part of the offense with a average quarterback on a shitty team. He's doing well as a rookie. What more do you want? 6th overall pick? Yeah, I would say absolutely. He can be valued similarly to Tyreek Hill in the upcoming years. And if there's any doubt, I would still buy. I'm completely all in. I have no doubt that he's going to be a superstar. I think he is going to be someone who's going to have wide receiver 1 finishes. What is he, the wide receiver 14 this year at this point?
He is right now just looking the wide receiver 10 in terms of total points. Now that's not points per game. He's lower in points per game, but he's way up there. I mean, he's barely behind Jamar Chase. At this point, he's less than 7 points PPR from Jamar Chase in one more game played, but still he's coming on very strong late.
What if he has Deshaun Watson as his quarterback next year? What about that? Imagine that. What did Deshaun Watson do for Will Fuller?
As soon as he was healthy, he helped him out.
Right. And I think Jalen Waddle is a better player than Will Fuller ever was or ever would have been.
Yeah, interesting. So, yeah, I think, I don't think they're the same kind of player, but I think in terms of can he be a top 5 dynasty wide receiver? I think he can. I think, he's one of the guys in this draft that I think a lot of people overlooked. A lot of people had Devonta Smith over him. I think I'd take Jalen Waddle over Devonta Smith at this point.
Easily now. I mean, I had Devonta Smith over Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
So, I won't pretend that I didn't, but
very good.
I do think I have him dynasty wide receiver 14.
That's really good. I was just trying to look and find where he was coming off in drafts here in November, the ADP, and I don't know why I don't see him. I normally can pick.
He's all the way down there. He's at 56.
What? He's way too low.
Laughable.
Wide receiver 28. No, that's
laughable. Yeah, no, that was too low. I never had him at wide receiver 28. I had him at higher than that before he played a snap. So
way too low. Yeah,
never had him that low.
Get on board. I feel like his cost has gone up the last couple of weeks. I don't think you can get him for that price.
I think it's too late.
Yeah,
I do. I think it's too late. But I would rather. This might be a hot take. In Dynasty today, I would rather have Jalen Waddle than Stephon Diggs.
Cool, that is a hot take. Definitely more than Jerry Jeudy, right?
Jerry Jeudy, we have a problem. We have a problem. We're going to have an issue. We're going to have an issue.
Him in just a little bit. Let's knock out a couple of these. Ridley Truther back in the house. He said the boys are back in town. We appreciate you, Ridley, for tuning in. What are you doing with Tony Pollard? Got shares of him on both rebuilding and contending teams. Curious what his value is for both.
I mean, I don't know. You can hold him. You can sell him. I'm not buying him. Depends on what you can get. I mean, if you can get someone to give you a first for Pollard, I'll take it. Otherwise, I'm probably not selling him. So, but there are some leagues where people will do that. Pollard's never going to be the starter there unless Zeke gets hurt. He's not
making the reports of them holding Zeke back for the rest of the season, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, we're gonna feed him all the carries against New Orleans this week. It just seems like there's a little bit of that back and forth of here's what we're gonna do, here's what we're not gonna do. I think Zeke is one of those that contending teams probably could buy right now that wouldn't cost you too much.
I mean, Zeke practiced in full.
Yeah,
so.
He doesn't want to be off the field, man. He wants to be out there on the field.
He's going to play.
But yeah, these guys are competitors.
It is what it is.
Dustin in the house. What's up? He said, even in gents, hope all is well. All is well, Dustin. Thank you for checking in. Trogdor can't figure out Gibson. Is he hurt? He had 36 touches.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that better. I like that better. It is what it is with Gibson.
Are you? I mean, I don't want to say you were completely out, but you were close. I mean, do you feel a little bit different now?
No. I mean, I feel a little bit different, but not that different. The one thing I liked was the work in the passing game. Problem with Gibson is he's been so inefficient on the ground this year.
Yeah, 7 catches. That's at least let's see, that might be a career high. It is a career high in catches in a game. So good to see him used that way. No doubt. Ed, this is a question that has been blowing up in the little group DM group that we're in. On an 11-0 team that just lost CMC, would you be willing to move him for Javonte straight up? What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So sell me on it. Sell me on yeah.
Well, I mean, you're 11-0. CMC is not going to play for you the rest of the year. So this year you're getting an advantage. And then moving forward, who do you think is going to carry more value? Probably not CMC. I think that people have learned their lesson after Saquon Barkley. Saquon doesn't look good anymore. 2 years of injury, people, just assumed, oh, he's going to come back. He's an all-world talent, blah, 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 blah. No one's ever getting the benefit of the doubt like that again. Never. No. Never again is anyone going to get the benefit of the doubt after 2 injury-riddled seasons. It's not happening. So CMC is not going to get the benefit of the doubt either. Which means that Javonte is going to be worth more than him throughout the offseason. And I think moving forward, I would rather have Javonte. So
the trades I see going down when I just pull up the trade finder on dynastyleaguefootball.com, another tool that you'll be able to get if you become a premium member of dynastyleaguefootball.com, which you should. It's really interesting to look at some of these. I mean, you've got McCaffrey, Rondale Moore, and N'Keal Harry, whatever, for Darrell Henderson, Cortland Sutton, and Travis Etienne. I still want the McCaffrey side on that.
You can't trade McCaffrey right now. Just hang on.
That's the only reason why this move, I kind of look at it and like, maybe I wouldn't want to do that. But I also don't know that McCaffrey, like, what would McCaffrey have to, he would almost have to do what Joe Mixon is doing right now to bounce back value-wise, right? Like, Joe Mixon had that rap going into this season about being sort of an injury-prone type player. Obviously, he's showing it, proving that he can do it. He can put it together for 16 games or whatever, 12 games.
I just think that this is not, the value's not going to come back anyway. I mean, he's not going to be a first-round starter pick again. I don't think he can be next year, but
we'll see. Question here from Super Alien 86. Appreciate the question. Is Michael Pittman Jr. a top 12 wide receiver?
Absolutely not.
I say no, but only because wide receiver is so tough up top.
It's not why. He's moving in the wrong direction. So no. I think they're learning that they need to run the offense through JT.
I think they are too, but I also think they need more than just him on the field that's a weapon in the passing game.
Yeah.
Like, defenses need somebody else to pay attention to, and I think that would help. He just gets so much attention on the field.
I just don't think he's top 12. And I don't think he ever will be, personally. I'm fine selling him at his value. I think he's priced at his ceiling.
I'm trying to look at where he was going. So he was ahead of Waddle. What do you think about Pittman versus Waddle?
Waddle easily.
Waddle easily.
Easily,
okay.
Yeah, easily.
Pittman or Claypool?
Oh, Pittman, not Claypool.
Pittman or Devonta Smith?
Pittman barely. Devonta Smith has other problems.
What about Pittman or Amari Cooper?
Oh, no. Not Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is losing. Amari Cooper's value is every game he misses. There's one thing I can tell you that hurts value. It's when you miss games because of COVID. People hold that against you. So that will be held against him. And his value to me is done. His value as a high-end asset is over. He turned 27 this offseason. Who knows when he's going to come back. He's still sick. And probably, if he doesn't play this week, he'll play next week. But, his time as a high-end asset, I think, is over. I think it's a different kind of asset now. And now it's a declining asset with Amari Cooper. So, no, not Amari Cooper.
Okay. How about DeAndre Hopkins or Michael Pittman?
Oh, absolutely. No. DeAndre Hopkins is even worse. I don't want any part of him.
So, I mean, you may have Pittman as in the top 16 to 18 then.
I believe I have him at 16 exactly.
Yeah. So not top 12, but close.
But what he would have to do to get up to 12 is going to be hard. I don't think he's going to get there.
Alec, Cordero Patterson is worth ? Contending team looking to get him. I have a team where I basically decided I'm not going to win. I'm rebuilding. I'm going to start selling. I started with Cordero. I offered him to almost everybody in the league for a first round pick and got one. So I did get a 2022 first for him.
I mean, I would try to get that, but I don't think that's the norm. I think you're going to have to accept a couple of seconds at best in most situations.
But I think as a team rebuilding, you got to get him off your roster. You can't carry him into next year. He's not going to have a lot of value.
No, he won't. So you do have to get him off your team.
I love Cordero. He's one of my favorite stories of this year, but I think that's somebody, it's a second round pick or 2 seconds. If you can somehow talk somebody into giving you a first, that's best case scenario.
Yeah.
One QB, is it worth it to drop Tannehill for Taysom Hill? I have Tua and Lawrence, and I'm looking for a QB for rest of season.
I mean, in Dynasty, no, but in redraft, yeah, if you have to. I mean, Taysom Hill has more fantasy ups. Tannehill, you can't play him.
Right. So. Not in Dynasty, Tannehill is still the play.
Yeah, for sure. But in redraft, I understand it. You can't play Tannehill the rest of the season, so
nope.
Cut him anyway in redraft.
Pay attention to Taysom's health. I think the only thing they're waiting on is if he's going to be healthy enough with his foot. He's got a foot injury.
He took the first team reps. He's going to be the starter.
Yeah, and look, this is something some people are saying. It's the same thing they said last time. Like, oh, I don't believe it. Like, he's going to end up only playing part of the snaps. Like, if they name him the starter like they did last year, he's going to play all the snaps. That's what they did last year. That's Peyton's. That's what he's going to do. And if so, he's going to be a good fantasy quarterback because he's going to have that rushing upside that you like to see. If he's not a good real life quarterback, we don't care. It's not going to cost you much to get him. If you need somebody like him, even in the Superflex league, I've seen him go for a 3rd round pick. So,
oh wow, I would take him at that value for sure.
Yep. Jonah Khan, would you trade a 2022 high second and Michael Gallup for Chase Claypool? Currently rebuilding team, likely going to have the 13th or 14th pick in the 2nd round, 12-man, half PPR league.
No, I'll just keep the pick and Gallup. I think that's a little much. No, thanks.
I think it's a little bit much too.
Not the worst trade ever, but I'll pass.
I know we're both pretty big proponents of Michael Gallup as well.
Sure. And
a high second is going to be actually pretty good, especially it doesn't say it's a super flex league, but if it is, you'll get a good player there.
Yeah. I think this is unnecessary.
David, in my first Dynasty league, currently 10-2. Awesome job. And just locked up first round bye last week. Oh, thanks to you guys. You rock. Thanks, David.
Oh, thank you.
But
it's definitely not all thanks to us. I mean, you still have to make the moves, but
give us all the credit when it works, but just don't blame us when it doesn't work. Okay, David. David's doing it the right way right here.
Don't blame me. Blame Cal.
Yeah,
I have enough people blaming me every week.
Clue 10-1-2-3. Any chance that the Chargers draft complimentary back who could dampen Eckler's value? Eckler has said he doesn't need to be, I guess this is the guy. Could it be a time to sell high?
Well, sure. I mean, it's a time to sell high if you're rebuilding because he's already 26. He's going to be 27 next offseason. I do assume that they're going to fix the RB2 role there because they all suck. Mm-hmm. Justin Jackson is on the last year of his rookie deal. He's not going to be back. Joshua Fumble, not good. And Larry Roundtree. Ugh. They all suck.
At some point, you have to just think they might not be drafting running backs because they're not good at it. Like maybe they just don't bring somebody in because they don't know how to pick the right running backs. And
what if they signed Melvin Gordon in free agency?
Yeah, that's exactly. They need somebody like
what
him.
They need Melvin Gordon. What if they signed Melvin Gordon?
Yeah, that's the perfect kind of guy to add.
That would be funny if they did that. But
we've been saying, like, anytime somebody asks about a sell high player, like that's somebody we've been saying for weeks now. Like, going.
He wasn't usually my choice. I've been saying because his value wasn't as high. I've been saying Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook more than Austin Eckler.
But he's at the top of that list because he's older than
there are a lot of players in that range though. Zeke, Dalvin, Kamara, Chubb, all born in 1995.
What month?
Eckler?
Yeah.
Oh, he's earlier in the year. April? I don't know.
Tyler's insanely good at this. Somebody check that. Indian V-Dub. Should I trade Elijah Mitchell if I'm a rebuilding team? If so, what should I get in return? 14-team Superflex PPR. Mitchell and CEH are my only running backs. That means you're doing rebuilding right if you're down to 2 running backs.
Yeah. Sure. Trade him. But I don't know what you're going to get in return. At this point, it's going to need to be more than a 14-team league. I mean, it's going to be pretty early first. I mean, yeah.
There's no reason to think, based on everything that's happened so far, that he's going to be anything but the guy going into next year, right? I mean, like, I don't know if they spend draft capital on a running back. They don't have a lot of early draft capital next year.
Anyway. I mean, if I'm in a rebuild and I could trade like Elijah Mitchell for Elijah Moore, I probably would. But that's the kind of return I'm looking for. Someone I'm very confident in.
Still, I mean, 23 years old. I mean, he's the kind of guy that I think you hang on to in a 14-team league unless you get that first round pick or there's, you can get Waddle or something crazy like that.
Waddle would be great, but if I could get, I don't know, like Rondale Moore and a first round pick or something like that, I mean, that's the kind of return I'm looking for. More than just the first.
Jackson G. He says, Superflex, my QBs are Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, pretty good. With Mac and Tua on my bench, I'm looking to move Tua and Mac. What is their trade value?
Good question.
Superflex league.
Mac is worth about 2 firsts. Pretty much. More or less. Tua is worth less. Tua is probably worth about first and a second ish.
First, yeah, because you start to worry about his job security, but it's.
I think Mac's the better player. I think Mac is better player. So he's better player. I mean, Mac's looking pretty good as a rookie for real life. Not quite putting up fantasy numbers, but he's doing more for the Patriots than Tua's ever done for the Dolphins.
Not a lot of Mac Jones trades in the database here. I do see some Mac Jones. Mac Jones for Antonio Gibson in a Superflex.
Not enough. Mac Jones. So I'll take Mac.
Mac Jones for Joe Mixon.
That's more interesting. I get it. I get why you would do that. If you're competing, Mac Jones is not really a high value fantasy option. I understand making that trade. Mac Jones probably has more value, but I get that one. Gibson's
me too. And if you got Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, my guess is you're doing pretty well and you're looking for this kind of move. So maybe that would be, if you're looking for picks, this next one here, Mac Jones and Marquis Brown for 2 2022 first and a 2022 second.
Not enough.
Not enough?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. So you're saying Mac Jones will be worth the first, but Marquise Brown will be worth more.
Correct. Yeah, he's worth more than a second.
Gotcha.
Yeah, definitely worth more than a second.
T-Fish is eating some tacos. Nice job. Perfect for tonight. Joe Smith, DK for Pitman and Travis Etienne, PPR league. What do you think?
I'd rather not. I'd rather hold on to DK. I mean, DK is really frustrating. Pitman, I like him. Etienne, I don't like. I'd rather hold on to DK, but this trade is fair. It's fair. I mean, this trade is fair. I'd rather hold on to DK personally.
feel like Travis Etienne is one of those players that maybe the value is going too far down.
I don't think it is, because I don't think he has any ceiling. What's the ceiling of Travis Etienne?
You don't think over the offseason there's going to be some hype on him that...
No, I don't think there is, because I think that it's very clear that he's never going to supplant a healthy James Robinson. It's how much value can he get in the same backfield, and with how bad this offense has been, I'm not targeting ancillary pieces of this offense. I actually think the most likely scenario is that Travis Etienne comes back and torpedoes James Robinson's value without having too much of his own.
I feel like he's the kind of player that we're going to, like, in June or July, we're going to get like workout videos of him, like cutting and moving. And
it won't matter.
His ADP is going to jump up like 2 rounds.
But it won't matter, because unlike Cam Akers, James Robinson is much scarier than Darrell Henderson. James Robinson isn't just going to be pushed to the side.
Yeah, James Robinson's good.
He is.
David chiming in here. Contender PPR, no tight end premium. Should he trade Schultz for Gronk?
I'd rather not, but I understand why you would. I mean, I have Schultz higher in my dynasty rankings. He's 7 years younger than Gronk. He's been great since he got the opportunity last year, and he's been great this year. So I'd rather not, but I understand why you would do this. I do.
I understand it. I guess the higher upsides with Gronk.
Yeah, I mean, for the rest of this year, the higher upsides with Gronk. Schultz is worth more in Dynasty, but I get it. I get it.
Likelihood that Gronk plays in 2022 at all. What do you think?
High. I mean, if Brady plays, I think it's pretty high likelihood.
I feel like dealing with injuries this year. He just, the interviews I've listened to him, he just sounds like he's tired of this stuff. Like he's just like,
he might be tired of it.
I just want to get out of this. Why am I doing this?
He might be tired of it, but he looked really good last week. So as tired of it as he is.
He did. He's walked away one time before.
I know. No, and that's why I don't want to do it.
Right. Ridley Truther, Waddle has literally proved he's not a deep threat. He's showing he's a complete possession all around the field, future stud, and completely underrated. Needs to be in the Jamar Smith combo. I think that's Tua. I think some of that's Tua.
I think that the thing is that he's proved that he can do the possession part, but what if he was also a deep threat in addition to that, like Tyreek Hill is? Tyreek Hill catches slants. He has run after the catch ability in the short passing game, but also can burn you deep. What if Waddle could actually unlock the deep threat part of his game to add to the other portion? So that's the thing. So no, he's not just the deep threat. I think we all see that. I mean, he has a lot of receptions for the number of yards he has. It's not like a bunch of deep bombs. He's actually more of a volume player. And I think that's good. That shows that they know how to use him. They're trying to get him touches, trying to get him to break one. No, I have, no issue with him really at all. What more could you want? I mean, given the up and down quarterback play, how much better would you really have expected his rookie year to be? Really? I mean, I think this was his ceiling. If you told me the range of outcomes for his rookie year, this is the high end. This is the best case scenario.
Yeah, he 39th in air yards, but he started off kind of slow. Like I'd be curious to see what that looks like in just more like the last few weeks. I bet it's better. But he's a 4.37 guy. It's not like he's not Jarvis Landry.
No, he's been good. He's been very good.
Henry chimes in. What's up, legend? Henry, appreciate you tuning in. He picked Smith over Waddle. I think, we all did some things like that. I think I probably picked Trey Sermon ahead of Waddle one time. If I had
I never did.
If I had to look back at it, I might have done that. I had to go see.
That I never did. I was actually on the higher side on Sermon, but I was so much higher on Smith and Waddle, both of them, that I would not have picked Sermon over them. But I did have Smith over Waddle. So, oops.
Look, sometimes when the legends admit they make mistakes, like, it helps.
I make a lot of mistakes.
Henry says, remember that CMC traded in the offseason? You guys raved about how much I got him for so cheap. So much for that.
Sorry.
It happens. Yeah.
I do think, though, with CMC, it kind of is what it is now. It is what it is. Yeah. He'll always have more production value because unlike Saquon Barkley, who I think, by the way, is washed. Saquon Barkley is Todd Gurley. CMC is not washed. When CMC is playing, no, Saquon Barkley is dead to me. He looks like shit. He's done. Wow. CMC, whenever CMC is healthy and playing, he's good, right? There's no talent problem. These injuries are not affecting him. When he takes the field, he's still good. And I believe that will continue moving forward. Now, it's impossible to deny risk because you see something like what happened with Dalvin Cook this week, another shoulder injury. He's had a bunch of shoulder injuries. What's the biggest predictor of future injuries? Past injuries.
Yep.
So now that we have lots of past injuries with CMC, that may mean that there's a higher likelihood of future injury. So he comes with added risk, and his age, adds risk. So I understand that his production value is always going to exceed his dynasty value moving forward. With that said, if you're a contender, if you can break the bank and get a good offer that helps you the rest of the year, go for it. But, in a lot of situations, if you're a borderline contender or you're a rebuilder and you happen to have CMC on your team, honestly, you're probably stuck with him.
You might be stuck with him for the duration of his career.
You ride him out because he'll still be good.
Yeah,
you ride him out. But you won't be able to trade him for fair value anymore, I think, ever. Personally.
We're just over the 30-minute mark. We are taking all of your questions as we're doing here.
There are a lot of questions this week. Thank you to the people in the chat. I will say, the people in the chat are just amazing with how many questions you bring to the table. It makes me excited to come and do this show every week because the chat is so active.
Me too. I love it. I appreciate everything that you guys do with that. And we are asking you a question in return. Who are you completely out on in 2022? It sounds like the answer for Tyler is Saquon Barkley.
Oh, it's Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley. I wrote in the 6-pack this week that I'm tired of excuses. How many fantasy points do you score for excuses? Do excuses score you anything?
Nope.
No, there are no points for excuses. Why is Saquon Barkley incapable of just recovering from an injury and coming back and playing well? Lots of other running backs do that. They don't require 3 weeks after every injury to look normal again. No, does, David Montgomery, he came back, he had his normal workload immediately had the normal workload. Mixon has missed time, he comes back, and he's just Joe Mixon again. There are plenty of running backs who just come back and they're fine. Why is there always a delay? Why 2 weeks of crappy performances? Why at the beginning of the year? He should have been ready. He should have been 100%. He was not 100%. There's something wrong with him. There's something wrong with him that we don't know. And I'm very convinced now. He has some injury we don't know about. There's a big problem here. So I don't want any part of Saquon Barkley moving forward. He's dead to me. Dead.
That's coming from a Giants fan as well, so that tells you something. David says,
he's dead to me. Saquon Barkley, dead.
Speaking of Waddle, would you trade McLaurin for him?
I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't, but oh man, I'm tempted. I wouldn't.
You'd have to get a plus.
I love Terry McLaurin. He's one of my favorite players.
Absolutely.
He's so good. He's so good. He's been a wide receiver one from day one. Style of player. He came in day one as a 3rd-round pick and was excellent from the beginning. And if you just listen, and he gives me good vibes too. If you just listen to the way Terry McLaurin talks about football, and I don't always factor this in, but with him, I noticed it from the beginning. In his interviews, the way he talks about football, he just sounds like someone who really cares about his craft as a wide receiver.
Yes.
I want to invest in those kind of players. That's the kind of player I want to put my high-end dynasty pick into. I want to be on with those guys. So, it's a little factor, but it's always made a little bit of a difference for me with McLaurin.
But I think that's the kind of thing we overlook sometimes. And
we overlook that these are human beings.
When I interviewed
Vincent
Human
Smith,
Smith, I was like,
not just stat sheets.
Yeah, I was like, what makes, because Vincent Smith played with DeAndre Hopkins. I was like, what makes him DeAndre Hopkins? He said he's mentally, he understands the game. His football IQ is the highest of anyone he's ever met. He's like, yes, he's got the physical traits, but he's like, I met a lot of people with great physical traits. It's the mental IQ.
It's also like, how is Deontay Johnson always wide open? How? Yeah. How is he always wide open? He's not the most athletic receiver.
He's awesome.
He's not the fastest.
Love Deontay Johnson.
Right, but he's not the most athletic and he's not the fastest, but somehow he's always wide open. It's the mental aspect.
How is Brian Edwards never open?
Who's never open?
Brian Edwards.
Oh, God.
AG, what's happening, guys? Great to see the chat popping. Absolutely.
It always is, and thank you.
M. Yeckersley, I was the idiot that asked you on Twitter, Tyler.
There are no dumb questions. Let me just say that.
For Hubbard, who would you suggest I hone in on and do my best to acquire? I'm in win right now mode.
Not Hubbard. Hubbard, I can't guarantee Hubbard is going to help you. If you have a first-round pick and you want to give someone get someone running back for this year, I would go trade for Leonard Fournette. I mean, better off doing that than for Hubbard. Hubbard has been outsnapped by Abdullah. I still think, knowing that CMC is out, now they can prepare for that. Hubbard will be their lead back. He's better on the ground than Abdullah. Abdullah, we know what Abdullah is. He's a jack.
I can't even believe he's still in the league.
I can't even believe he's still in the league. Hubbard will be the starter, but I don't think that Hubbard is not a league winner. Hubbard is a borderline RB2. With Cam, I'm not even sure he is an RB2. I think he's not someone I'm excited for. He's someone you can start in an emergency.
A first for Fournette makes some sense. I think a first for Elijah Mitchell makes some sense because of the schedule.
I don't think you can do that anymore. I don't think you can do that anymore.
But maybe even a second for Cordero Patterson, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, what a great idea. Yeah, that's a great idea. But I think with Fournette, though, I think Fournette could have multiple years. Because I don't think that this player who's been excellent all year and is only going to turn 27 in January is just going to find himself out of the NFL. So I'd be more comfortable with Fournette, personally.
I like that. 5th right now in running back rankings for the season.
Look, I mean, he's always been involved in the passing game, right? I mean, and that's where he hadn't had that many touchdowns until this week. He got a lot of touchdowns, but he hadn't had that many. His floor was from his work in passing game, which Rojo can't do. And they phased Gio out completely. By the way, if you look at the snap counts, Gio's not playing at all. They're using Fournette in that role.
Leonard Fournette was a healthy scratch late in the season last year, and they were like, "Do you want us to release you, or do you want to hang around,
get your act together?" Yeah,
and good on him for
good on him. Yeah, he got his act together, and despite what some people said, he has played this year. He's played well. He's played well, and you got to hand it to him. He's played well.
Healthy scratch in week 14 last year. So just think about that. Like that's
someone lit a fire under his ass. I don't know.
League-winning type running back. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Ed says you can go either way. Tony. Yeah. Let's see. Not a bad hold. I don't see him taking over.
Kind of how I feel. Yeah.
Tristan, what's J.K. Dobbins worth in a 12-man PPR? My running backs are Antonio Gibson and Michael Carter. Stupid deep at wide receiver. List is wide receivers right there. I guess you're stupid deep. Yeah, I guess CD, Terry.
Yeah, the CD and Terry are good.
And Elijah Moore, obviously.
Elijah Moore, too.
Yep. What's J.K. worth?
I mean, good amount, right?
Yeah. Could you put together Bateman and Sutton?
Oh, all day. Give me J.K. Dobbins all day.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I don't know that you get him for that, but I mean, maybe.
I think you might. I think you might if you get him now. You get him now, don't wait. You might not even have to pay that. People don't like buying injured players in the middle or having injured players in the middle of the season. But now's your chance.
I've said this a bunch, but we were robbed from a J.K. Dobbins.
Robbed. Look, people tried to tell me that the Ravens were passing more and it would be effective. How did that go for them in the last game?
Yeah.
They need J.K. Dobbins. Running backs don't matter. Right. Right. Their offense has been so effective with Freeman, Murray, and Tyson Williams. The running back really just didn't matter for them at all. No, they needed J.K. Dobbins. It's hurting them big time.
Ridley Truther, CMC is out of the top 5 running back ADP come next draft season.
I will tell you that in redraft, he will still be in the top 5.
Redraft, he probably will. But look, in November's startup ADP, this is before this season-ending injury news. He was already RB5 then. He's going to drop down even more.
Yeah, I have him RB6 right now.
Yeah, Saquon was 7. That I feel like he's going to get into that range.
Yeah, we don't want to know where I have Saquon.
I kind of do.
Let's see. I got to scroll. Oh, maybe it's not. It's not as bad as you probably think. I have him at 11, RB 11.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
26th overall in 1 QB.
Matt might hate it. He thinks you're crazy if you think Saquon and CMC long-term are top running backs in the league.
Not crazy.
But
not
see,
crazy.
Matt, you gotta understand, this is a dynasty fantasy football show. So like, we're also thinking about dynasty value.
But these are 2 completely different players. One of them's washed and the other one is fine, but constantly hurt. Mm-hmm. CMC's fine. Every time he plays, he looks fine. He looks great. He looks like CMC. No issues. Just can't stay healthy. That's a separate problem. Saquon Barkley looks terrible. You know what told me all I needed to know?
God, I hate that. I hate it.
I hate it. But you know what?
I want to push back on that right now, but
you can't, right? Because he looks like garbage.
There's nothing
like garbage.
Yeah.
You know what tells you all you need to know? Third down play late in the game. Critical third down play. They call a screen pass with Devontae Booker. Game's on the line. Screen pass to Devontae Booker. If Saquon Barkley were Saquon Barkley, does Joe Mixon come off the field for that play? No. Saquon Barkley is not himself anymore. Goal line. 1st and 1 at the goal line. Do they give it to Saquon Barkley? No. They call a tight end shovel pass instead. Because they don't trust him. They don't think that he was the best option to get it done.
Man.
He is riding on his name. And 3 years ago. How many fantasy points does his 2018 performance score me? How many? In 2021, how many does that score me? None. Saquon is just a borderline RB1. Maybe. And with Mike Glennon, I don't even want to start him.
He's going to have some good performances, but I don't know how. Like, obviously, the fantasy community is starting to distrust.
No, there are plenty of people who make excuse after excuse after excuse for Saquon Barkley.
The fact that he's fallen to RB7, I guess, is what I'm referring to there in terms of dynasty ADP. So, that's a big drop for someone who was 2 coming into the season.
It's hard for people to accept.
Yeah.
It's hard for people to accept that someone who was once talented isn't that guy anymore. It's hard to accept.
Nicholas got Madison in Dynasty. Good job. I think that's the money you want, no doubt.
He's going to be an RB1. But Kene Wangu, I would pick him up. If he's somehow on your waiver wire, he is a priority. You must add him because look at how dynamic he is. Alexander Madison, to me, is just a guy. He's a guy. He can, you know who he reminds me of a little bit better, actually, version of this? Darrell Williams. A little bit better version of Darrell Williams, actually. Yeah. He's very capable of doing everything. He's capable of everything. Is he capable on the goal line? Yeah. Capable in the passing game? Yeah. He's worked in the passing game when he's been the starter. Can you run with him in the tackles? Absolutely. Is he going to lose you the game? No. Does he really add anything in any of those factors? No. But, Kene Wangu, what about him? I mean, look at his blazing speed. Imagine that, getting involved in the offense on the same team as Justin Jefferson. Imagine that. So just someone I would add to the end of my bench. Why not? What do you have to lose?
Really good schedule coming up for Madison here. I think there's
Detroit is coming up. I mean, Detroit is next. We want that. I mean, a matchup against Detroit. Madison this week is, and I have him ranked as an RB1.
Absolutely.
I believe I have him RB8 this week. So I would put him in immediately, full confidence.
You mentioned Nwangu. Good people may not realize he's one of the ones that had Achilles surgery towards Achilles tendon.
But that was 4 years ago. That's the only thing. That was 2017, an Achilles injury. So I don't know what we're talking about 4 years later.
The fact that he still is at the 99th percentile in terms of his 40-yard dash at the combine, stuff like that, like he's very fast. It makes you feel like
if we're healing 3 or 4 years later, like Deonta Foreman is, that's not good enough.
It's true. It's true.
We need it to be faster. For Cam Akers to return his value, he needs to be 100% next year, not 3 years from now.
It's true. Clue, any chance the
Chargers... we answered this. He typed it in twice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, this was the full question. Got Madison in Dynasty. Should I trade him for a first? If it's a later first. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I understand, though, if you're a contender and you need him, that you can't afford it. So I understand. I mean, playoffs are on the line. I mean, if your season is on the line, I get it.
Yes.
But, if you're throwing in the towel, absolutely. He's not worth a first. So
anytime a non-elite running back suddenly gains value and you can trade him for a first, second round pick, you do it.
Correct.
Anytime.
That's correct. And there's also no way that Madison is ever going to be, I don't think, the starter for anyone. Not the intended starter, anyway.
No.
I don't think he's that kind of talent. Again, reminds me more of Darrell Williams than anyone else. Not as a player, but that kind of level.
Roto Heats, Sully, don't have a question, just a comment. Keep up the great work, gentlemen. I'm a fan of both of you. Thank you, Roto Heats, Sully.
I always like these type of comments.
Ed says, I take it first for Madison.
He's not worth a first, yeah.
Super Alien 86.
We don't mention this that often.
But I was subscribed already, but I fixed it now. Everyone push the red button. These guys are awesome. Thank you, Super Alien. Yeah, if you're watching this, go ahead and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel.
Yes.
Push the red button and hit and smash the thumbs up button. I think that's the way to say it.
The like button. Yeah.
Rob_Maz. Start one. Tony, Bateman, Moore.
Which Moore is this? I've done the start sit, but I haven't really looked at it much. DJ Moore's on bye, so I guess this is Elijah Moore, and then it's Elijah Moore. Tony, I'm not sure is even going to play. Bateman, I don't want to play. So Elijah Moore, if that's the question. But
Elijah Moore would be my move here as well.
But yeah, we don't do a lot of start sit on the show. I usually have the start sit ready, but I'm not really ready to take start sit questions with full confidence. I usually begin that thread on Twitter on Thursday morning. Is usually when I have everything really good to go on start sit Thursday morning.
Hayden Grubb, am I wrong to be completely out on Chris Carson in 2022? Neck injuries are no joke.
No, you're absolutely right. I expect that Chris Carson never plays another snap in the NFL. Neck injuries are no joke. Hayden is completely right on the last part here. And I personally think that Chris Carson should retire. Neck injuries those can affect your life. And I think that he will not ever be, if he could not get cleared, this is not the kind of thing that heals. If he couldn't get cleared to play this year, he's done. I think that he's going to be, failed physical designated, and, injury retirement settlement. So I expect Chris Carson never plays again, personally.
Definitely not wrong here, and good answer for our question of the week on who are you.
I feel bad for him. It's a terrible way to go out.
It's a terrible way to go out. I hate it too, because Chris Carson is one of those guys that it just always seemed very easy to root for. Always been cheaper than his production in Dynasty.
It's the kind of thing where you care more about his life at this point.
Exactly.
He's 27 years old. I'm 26. He's a similar age to me. I feel like I have a lot of life ahead of me, and a neck injury could be, affect the rest of your life. So I think he's not coming back.
Grant Brown chiming in, rebuilding roster, 1 QB. Would you move on from Hollywood? And would you be who would you be targeting in return?
Well, that depends on what you can get. I mean, I'd be happy to move on from Hollywood, but I don't feel like I have to. He's not old. So he's not a must move for me. If I could go from Hollywood to someone who's producing a little bit less, but who's worth a little bit more, I might like to do that. Like, for example, Devonta Smith, maybe, or Jerry Jeudy. Players that I like them more, but they're not producing as much as Hollywood. Could be players you could target those two.
But again, pretty young.
I would have said T. Higgins before this week. Now it might be hard.
He's still getting his double-digit double-digit targets a week, which is good. I mean, like, there's a lot of things that are really good about him. It's just he's not finding the end zone, and a lot of his targets have not been as deep recently.
He's far from a must move to me. I gave you some ideas, but he's the kind of player that if I strike out on making a move, I strike out and I keep him.
Right.
I'm not forcing a move with him.
What?
I don't feel like I have to force it.
24 years old. I did give
you 2 targets that I would target. Those 2, Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy.
24 years old. He was the wide receiver 26 in November, ADP.
That seems about right.
Yeah, if you're rebuilding, I mean, like, he's not the kind of guy that you have to trade.
No, you don't have to trade him at all. I mean, I'm fine trading him, but you don't have to. So if you can't get a good offer, don't force it.
Henry, Elijah Mitchell sure looks good to me. He does, Henry.
Absolutely. I mean, this week solidified it for me in that he was injured previously, came back, and just returned immediately to the starting job, workhorse job.
Yeah, which that was my takeaway when I did it. Like, everybody was like going crazy about Kyle Shanahan at the beginning of this year. I did a deep dive. My thing that I noticed is a lot of the fluctuation is just that he's had very injured running backs in the last couple of years.
I said that myself.
Yeah. And when they come back, they go right back into that full role that they've had. So
at this point, I think you're looking at Elijah Mitchell and James Robinson as having similar value. To me anyway.
Chris Carson, right? Like, he was undrafted guy that not that Elijah Mitchell was undrafted, but he was
Elijah Mitchell's better than Chris Carson was 7th round, but Elijah Mitchell is better than Chris Carson ever was.
He could be. I think he's the kind of guys that
Chris Carson didn't carry this kind of workload ever.
The Dynasty community is always going to fall in love with another guy. Like, I don't know that Mitchell's ever going to have the kind of value he deserves.
No, he will not. But I think that I'm okay with him. I'd rather have I'll give you some examples. I'd rather have Mitchell over James Robinson, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, other players like Henderson, Edwards-Helaire.
What about Michael Carter?
Michael Carter's way down for me. So, yeah, I'd really rather have Mitchell.
Interesting. Those are some interesting names. So
Michael Carter's the one I don't. Michael Carter's the one I think is wildly overvalued because I think he's getting committed at best.
So you'd have him in the 15-16 range then, sounds like.
Mitchell?
Yeah.
I have Mitchell at, let's see, 17.
Okay. Yep. That sounds about right. Nicholas, I'm rebuilding first dynasty. I'm 3-8. Last 3 in the league, so bottom 3, I guess. I got Madison. He's 23. Should I keep him or trade him for a first to a playoff contender? Absolutely trade him for a first.
Easy. Trade him for a first. Easy question.
I would say, honestly, trade him for the best offer you can get. Like, he's not going to be a starter next year. He's not going to have a top, 30 ADP in terms of running backs, anything like that.
Trade him for, he's not going to have that. So trade him for the minimum you'd accept would be what?
I mean, I guess I feel like you can do better than a third right now. So just
I'm probably not taking it. I'm not taking a single second. That's not profiting.
If I had to, I would. You're not going to get that in the offseason for him?
Right. But I feel like if I really try, I could do better than that. And if I can't, then I don't mind just sticking it to the people in my league and not trading him.
You might could get Marquis Brown
no.
for him.
That would be great, but I don't think you can.
Brandon Ayuk?
No, I don't think you can either. There's no way. Rondale Moore, maybe, but
yeah, I'm trying to look at this.
Rondale Moore, maybe, but Brandon Ayuk, no.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney, maybe.
There you go. Rebuilding. Should I trade Elijah Mitchell or hold on?
Answered this.
Yeah, we answered this 14-team Superflex. I guess that's a little bit of a.
Yeah. No, this was the exact question we answered.
It was. Let's see. Sorry, I actually answered my question twice. No worries. Scott says, I have Derrick Henry and CMC, Cam Akers, Robert Woods, Michael Thomas. Man, rough season for you, dude.
Wow. You thought you were a big contender and you went up in complete flames.
You probably were cashing your checks already from your winnings when you had this going into the season.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't. What do you even do if you have all these guys?
this is in the offseason, you got to get to work.
Yeah. I mean, this is a rebuild.
I don't think you can do, because I mean, honestly, who in this has any value this year?
None of them.
So you can't sell these to contenders. I don't. Yeah,
just wait.
I think you've got to
wait. I mean, with Michael Thomas, the second he's traded to a new team, trade him. With Derrick Henry, the second he's back on the field, trade him.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Woods, the second that you hear he's running, trade him.
Yep.
CMC, once you get to the offseason, you'll be able to trade him. And Akers, don't bother. I just hang on to him.
Yeah. Gosh, rough year. So thank you guys.
Yeah,
no, question.
It is rough.
Ridley Truth or Pitman, Gerald Everett, 2022 and 2023, second, or Judy Ertz, Jamal Williams?
The Pitman side. Easily.
Yeah. My only hesitation is Judy, but I'd take Pitman.
No, I have no hesitation at all.
I'd take Pitman over Judy.
Yeah. No hesitation.
Yep. Cal, is Taysom going to be a QB1 rest of the way? Here's the thing. Cam Newton was obviously terrible, but like you still, if Cam Newton's going to start, now maybe he's not, but if Cam Newton was good, you were sure he was going to start, he would have value.
Yeah.
Like when Taysom was the starter in his four game stint last year, he was the QB6.
Well, he got to play with Michael Thomas for a lot of those games.
He did.
He will not this time. Troutman is gone too. Alvin Kamara hopefully will play. I think it sounds like he's good to go. But man, I mean, yes, he's a quarterback one, but
he probably is. I don't trust it this week. I'm not rolling him out there on Thursday night as a QB1. Unless I've got really, maybe if you had Daniel Jones and you need to replace him or something like that. And
I'm absolutely rolling him out. Oh, absolutely. I ranked him quarterback 8. So I'm rolling him out.
Wow.
I'm good. Yeah. No, I'm rolling him out.
You're the high guy on Taysom. Look at this.
Just because he sucks. I mean, Cam is washed.
I like it.
He burned me this week, though.
Yeah. A lot of people. Dustin says 10 team Superflex. I have the 109 and 110 picks in 2022 based on standings. Offer to receive Javonte and a 2023 second for the first. DLF Analyzer says I'm losing the deal, but doesn't feel like it.
Don't worry about the DLF Analyzer is a very good guide, but sometimes it isn't perfect.
You can get married to that kind of stuff, and you don't need to.
It's hard. It's hard for, and this is something I'll say about any trade analyzer, any trade calculator. It's hard for a trade calculator to capture every scenario perfectly. Mm-hmm. It's hard. And it's also hard for it to stay updated in real time up against news and everything. It's just no computer. That's why people like me are still necessary. No computer is ever going to be able to replace me.
Yeah.
And that I will tell you that you're not losing. You're very much winning this deal. And I would take Javonte easily in this trade. Easily. Without a second thought.
In the 109 and 110 for 20. So you're talking about the last and second to last pick in next year's draft. Who are you drafting better than Javonte Williams?
No, you're not drafting anyone better than that. I mean, you're drafting a bunch of dart throwers. Even this year, what did you get at those picks? I mean, I guess it would have probably been Mac Jones.
Maybe Elijah Moore.
Well, no, in a super flex, it was probably Mac Jones, which means it probably worked out.
All right.
You could have ended up with Zach Wilson, and then it didn't. So
Mac Jones was the one going later.
Yeah. So you could always say it could have worked out, but it is what it is.
Yep.
You're not losing this deal. Take Javonte.
If I'm looking to move Tua and or a Mac for a player, what is the value there? Mac for DK?
It's funny. I look at that and I'm like, well, that's crazy, right? I mean, that's crazy. Mac for DK is crazy. Obviously, that's ridiculous. DK is worth much more. But then you actually think about it. And is DK really worth that much more? Is he? Maybe not. No, I think for Mac,
it's still tough with him.
It's tough. I think I would try.
You still have him as the top 5 Dynasty wide receiver, don't you?
Yeah, I have him at 5.
Yeah. So
It's tough.
I don't think you can trade a top 5 dynasty wide receiver.
Why don't you try though?
For Mac Jones.
Try.
Yeah.
Try it.
You can try it.
Yeah, try it.
Mike McGregor, what's up, dude? I appreciate you commenting. I love Mike. Mike's awesome. Underrated in the fantasy community.
Yeah.
No doubt. Draft buddy. He is great.
I'm definitely not underrated. That much I can tell
you. Rob says Dynasty half point PPR. Bateman for 3 seconds.
Nah. Let me keep Bateman.
Yeah, I feel like Bateman's worth more than that.
I just don't.
Like you could end up with nothing with those 3 seconds.
Just keep Bateman. Yeah, I'll keep Bateman. It's not good enough.
Is Calvin Ridley for J.K. Dobbins crazy on either end?
Oh, it's crazy in that Dobbins is worth way more.
I think Dobbins is worth more.
Way more.
If you have Ridley, there's nothing you can do right now. You just have to hope for good news in the offseason.
No, I mean, there was plenty of opportunities to sell Ridley.
Right.
I was saying, as loud as I possibly could, people are just brushing it off. People are brushing it off. They're like, oh, yeah, he's just going to come back. You don't know that. You don't know that. Nobody knows that. Anyone telling you that they know that is a liar. They don't know. They don't know what he's going through. I don't know what he's going through. Obviously, he's going through something pretty severe that there's been no update, nothing. We haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's going through. And I cannot tell you that he's going to come back this year. I cannot tell you he's going to come back next year. I don't know. And that risk, there are some people who just dismissed it. And they're wrong to do that. They are wrong to do that because, in our society, I still feel that we don't take mental health as seriously as we should. And I would, as a fantasy player, take the risk of Ridley never returning, I think is around, to me, if I had to guess, somewhere between 30 and 40% that he never plays again. So, yeah, it's crazy on the Ridley side. I'll take that easily. I'm so in on J.K. Dobbins next year. And that's a separate topic from Ridley.
It's going to be so much fun.
J.K. Dobbins, can you imagine the offense? Look at the offense on the Sunday night game. Lamar was throwing the ball because they did not respect running with the running back. If you imagine the offense with Bateman, with Brown, with Andrews, if they had to worry about J.K. Dobbins as a weapon out of the backfield, imagine that combination. How would you defend that? And Lamar with both his arm and his legs, how would you scheme a defense to defend that? You wouldn't be able to.
We were robbed.
J.K. Dobbins would have had a 1,500-yard season this year. I'm serious. He would have been a monster. We missed out. And like you said, we were robbed. Buy him now, and you won't regret it. Trust me.
He would probably be the RB2 right now.
Very possible.
Yeah.
He's got the talent to do it. He excels in all facets of the game.
So there's no reason to think he can't recover that. Like he's not an Achilles guy.
No, it's an ACL.
ACL tear. So let's.
Yeah. I expect him to return. I expect him to be the starter, and I expect him to ball. So I'd love to acquire.
Matt says he's got a contender, but he's going to look to move aging backs after the year. Who would you want to move more, Chubb or Eckler?
Chubb. I think Chubb's worth more and will produce less.
Oh, interesting.
So I want Chubb gone.
I love Chubb.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Chubb's a better player, but Eckler produces more. We score PPR. Eckler's outproduced Chubb consistently.
Chubb's younger.
By what? 8 months?
Yeah.
Who's going to age better? A grinder who gets a lot of injuries with Chubb. There's been long injury history, many different injuries. A grinder who relies on high carry volume and work on the ground, or a receiving back. Remember that on this same it was San Diego back then. It's LA now. Danny Woodhead put up a ridiculous RB1 season at 30 years old. That's the kind of player Austin Eckler is. I think it's very likely that Austin Eckler is still playing in the NFL at 29, whereas Nick Chubb will not be.
Rob traded Fields, JK, and Mike Davis for 2022 first and second, and a 2023 first and second. What are your thoughts? I'm assuming this is super flex.
Otherwise, if it's super flex, you got destroyed. If it's not, then
you would rather have the 2 first and 2 second in super flex.
No, he traded this away.
Traded Fields, JK, and Mike Davis away.
Yeah. I mean, in Superflex, you got destroyed. I'd much rather have the players. Yeah.
Yeah.
If this is 1 QB, then I mean, Dobbins is probably worth the 22 first and both seconds. In 1 QB, I'll probably lean the picks. Mm-hmm. No, honestly, Dobbins ranks pretty high for me. No, even in 1 QB, it's fair. 1 QB, it's fair. It's a fair deal. It's a fair deal.
Like Fields and JK aren't the kind of players that you're trading away if you're rebuilding.
No, in a 1 QB, though, this is about on the money value-wise. Davis has no value.
In a 1 QB, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. So I'll assume it's 1 QB then. So fine then.
P2 Thar, appreciate you tuning in, gentlemen. Ready for another great show with 8 first-round picks the next 3 years. Better to draft with them, use them for trade, or a mix?
Whatever works, right? I mean, whatever gets you the most value, whichever one of those that is. This is league specific.
It would be a mix for me. Like I usually like trying to create a snowball and give myself more picks in the future years.
Though,
with some of them,
some leagues you can't trade, some you can.
Yep.
This is how I can't give you a one size fits all answer. So what my Patreon is for, I do also take questions on Twitter for specific trades because every league is different, and there's a couple of other things, but. Yeah, just get a one size fits all answer is not a good answer here.
We are a little over an hour into the show. If you're just not tuning in, we are taking all of your questions. So
many questions, so many viewers, but
we're gonna have to hit the fast forward button to try and get through as many of these as we can.
I'll try to go as fast as I can.
Whether you're watching this right now live or whether you're watching it afterwards, our question of the week: who are you completely out on in 2022? Tell us who you are just completely done with, not going to draft, trying to get off your roster. Make sure you, whether it's in the comments afterwards or the live chat, add that in here. Dustin has a question. First year out from tearing it down, 8-4 now. Superflex these are his players. Tried to buy Dak, offered Zach Wilson a 2022 first, second, 2023 second. He wanted Elijah Moore and another second. Added to it? Or just Elijah Moore?
Added.
Okay. I held, no deal. Was I crazy to hold firm?
No. I mean, that's starting to get to certainly not we're talking about Zach Wilson, who at this point is probably worth a single first at best. Another first, seconds, and then Moore, who's 3 seconds, and then Moore, who's worth probably about a first himself. So no, not crazy to pass.
Oh, yeah, hold firm.
Yeah, not crazy to pass.
Hold firm. Move on to a different owner, maybe.
You don't have to go for this.
Yeah,
I like Elijah Moore a lot. I don't. This deal doesn't excite me, so
no,
I'm good.
No, and I don't think that's the kind of deal that guarantees you a championship.
No, not at all.
So you'll end up regretting it. Oliver Ventura, last week you mentioned Terrace Marshall was droppable. Are we giving up on young wide receiver too early?
That last week?
Yeah, he didn't do he was a healthy scratch this past week, so I feel like
maybe we're talking about Sunday morning when I said that. I mean, or who knows when I said that, but I will say I wrote my 6-pack article on Friday being like, Terrace Marshall this week is a key week for him. He needs to show something. Mm-hmm. He needs to show something this week. I was obviously writing the article on Friday, so I didn't know that he would be a healthy scratch. Then Monday, I write the hangover article about what happened. And then I was like, well, the good news is that Terrace Marshall was not responsible for the Panthers' putrid offensive performance on Sunday. Bad news is that he didn't play the game at all.
Yeah.
No, he's dead to me. Dead to me. It's not good enough. Not good enough. If you're a second-round wide receiver and your playing time is slashed by the end of your first year and you're a healthy scratch, not good enough. Find me a player who did that and succeeded.
It feels like Mims. Like it's just one of those that just
smells like Denzel Mims. Yeah.
I hate it.
The funny thing is he reminds me of Denzel Mims. He was drafted in a similar draft range to Denzel Mims. He's not that different of a player from Denzel Mims.
Yeah.
Smells like a bust. Zero interest in Terrace Marshall. Take whatever you can get. Take whatever you can get and get out.
Nicholas is rebuilding first dynasty. Well, we did this one, didn't we?
Yeah, we did that.
Let's see. Yeah, don't beat yourself up over taking Smith over Waddle. Henry, part of Dynasty.
I don't look back.
No, it's just like trades. Like if you look at old trades and you're like, oh, that was a stupid trade I make. Who cares? Like you're gonna have that. Like just keep making moves. Keep like you trust yourself and you get good information. Ultimately, you're gonna make better. You're gonna make moves that improve your roster over time, even if you make individual bad decisions.
It doesn't do you guys any good if I go back and look at all the mistakes I made, right? That doesn't help anybody. I just got to look forward. You know, we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. If you're right 60% of the time, you're one of the best analysts out there. So even
Dustin says, crazy as it sounds, I'm totally out on Kelsey for 2022. Seeing decline, will never be able to pay the price that his name carries.
Not crazy.
Yeah, you were in on this a little bit last week. You talked about it too. I don't know. He's 32, but that's just not super old for a tight end at this point. I don't. He's going to decline and his value will go down over time. It's never going to be as high as it was last offseason.
Yeah.
But he's still going to produce.
Still overvalued to me.
He's such a difference maker at tight end. It's just so hard.
He's not what he was, but he still is a difference maker.
Yeah, he's still averaging 16.7 points per game.
I get
it now.
It's just that if you take the decline from 2020 to 2021 and apply that same decline to 2022, then he's not a difference maker anymore.
Yeah,
that's the concern. And then he's 33 and not a difference maker. What kind of value is he going to hold then?
Jackson agrees with you on Saquon and CMC. If you watch Saquon run, he has washed Gurley vibes. I don't know, like it's very different. Gurley had too much tread on his tires. This feels like it's
the same thing. There's a problem. There's a physical problem that's preventing him from being good.
Yeah.
If people are telling you that they're watching Saquon Barkley and he's not bad, and bad is harsh, but he's good still. He's still a top 5 talent in the league. They're just lying. They're just seeing what they want to see. They're lying to you.
Jackson says he would take AJ Dillon over Saquon.
Ouch. No, we're not quite there. Unless Aaron Jones has gone away.
Some good Saquon talk. Could I get Barkley for Chubb?
We're talking about 2 players where I have major concerns. Chubb this week, not good. The team sucks. He's still now Hunt is back. I would lean Barkley in Dynasty because he's younger. Chubb just looked terrible. This week was not good. I don't know. He's got to step up a little bit more.
Yeah, I think Nick Chubb is one of the most talented running backs in the league.
Well, he better play like it then.
Kareem Hunt
didn't play like it this week, so let's see if he does a little bit better.
Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, rank those 4 wide receivers.
The reverse of how you listed them.
Yeah, I was gonna say DK, AJ, DJ, and then McLaurin probably
last. Yeah, the reverse of how they were listed.
I hate having Terry McLaurin last, but that just shows you. I mean, those are really good wide receivers.
Yeah, a little bit of age, really. That's all it is.
Mike McGregor chimes back in. Fantasy team Kamara Mania hates this, but it could be time to lower the 2022 expectations for Kamara. Team around him is terrible.
It could be.
It's one of the worst offenses in the history of football. Like it's so bad. Little Jordan Humphrey is getting
it is really bad. Receiver. So really you have the crew of the 1995 guys. You have Kamara, you have Eckler, you have Zeke, you have Cook, and Chubb. And of all of those, Kamara is probably the one I'm the most confident in. Maybe Eckler, but no, I don't know.
Yeah. PJ, are you scared of Deontay Johnson? Once Ben leaves, he feeds him. No, not because really. He feeds him because he's good.
Good players get open and continue to succeed. So no concerns.
Deontay was good his rookie year with Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges.
Very true. So Deontay Johnson is a star.
No, absolutely. Robert, would you trade T. Higgins and Elijah Mitchell for Swift and redraft?
Oh, absolutely not. I have no idea when Swift is coming back. I can't do that.
No. And I think Elijah Mitchell, I mean,
he's just as good as Swift. Rest of
the
season.
schedule coming up is so good. I'm telling you.
Yeah, this week I have Elijah Mitchell ranked at where did I rank him? 6.
So. Rob says Dynasty half PPR traded Godwin for Rondale, a first and a third.
I guess, but I'd take Godwin.
Half PPR probably lowers Godwin a little bit, but Rondale kind of fits in that same.
Souring on Rondale.
I think he's going to have a lot of. Value in PPR leagues.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's Ed's ranking there. What's Bateman's value right now? Where are we at?
Oh, Bateman essentially doesn't exist to me because he's, there are some people who wanted to put him in the Hall of Fame. How did his 4 targets do last week? These are just small realities. But no, I don't know what Bateman. I mean, I'm not paying a first to get him. Does that tell you all you need to know?
Slow start. Obviously, the injury.
I will pass on Rashad Bateman.
Yeah.
Overrated. Rashad Bateman, I think, is the most overrated player. Honestly.
He's gonna have a lot of hype going into next year, man.
Portland Sutton.
You can hear it already.
Overrated players.
Rob, Dynasty has Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, and Zach Wilson. So had a lot of first-round picks in 2021. 3 2022 first that should be top 5 picks. Do I take a QB with any of those picks?
Draft for value. Don't worry about your lineup. Draft for value.
Draft for value. When you do this draft, Rob, you're going to have months before you have to set a starting lineup. I would just draft the most value you can.
Exactly.
Craig says, what would you want in a rebuild for Gabe Davis?
Gabe Davis doesn't have any value.
I don't think you're going to get very much. So whatever you can get.
Take a third. Oh, sure.
Superflex tiered PPR dynasty on that one.
Give me a third. Yeah. I'm good.
Tanner, hey guys, what do I do with Henderson? A 0 RB depth, and I'm worried he'll lose value with Akers returning next year. He is going to lose value.
He's going to lose a lot of value. I would move him.
Yeah. Move him if you can, no doubt. And depending on if you're a contender and you can get somebody, I don't know, like you can't even really trade him to a rebuilding.
I don't know what you would do. Yeah,
yeah,
it's tough. You're kind of in a bind there.
You kind of got to try to trade him to a contender.
I don't know what you do.
Rob says, "Love you guys. Watch Tyler Owner's channel also. Honest opinions appreciated."
Yeah, I've never been accused of holding back. I'm definitely brutal, but if I sugarcoated it, then you guys would take sugarcoated advice, and it's not going to help you.
Yeah, going back to Darrell Henderson, tried getting a first, but no one seems to be giving up a first. It's because nobody is. Everybody understands Darrell Henderson's value next year is going down.
Yeah, but you can't take a second, so I don't think I think he's worth more than that. I think the rest of Henderson's career is going to give you more. Is going to give you something, and that's worth more than a second. So
try a 2024 first.
Sure, I guess that's what you do.
Jason, 12-team Superflex, tight end premium, Swift or Javonte plus Ayuk?
Fair trade. I think fair. I'll lean toward Javonte and Ayuk, but it's a very fair trade. Very reasonable.
I agree. I mean, I probably still just want Swift. I
think most people would tell you Swift. Yeah. I would lean the other way, but it's a fair trade.
Charles Tipton, Ayuk or Ridley 10-team PPR?
My answer to a Ridley trade is always going to be the other side. It's Ayuk.
That was supposed to say QB.
Ayuk.
I have in the NV dub. I have to pick 3 to play this week: Patterson, Zeke, Mitchell, Connor.
I mean, I'll leave Zeke out easily.
Yeah, New Orleans is tough against the run.
It's not that. There are doubts with Zeke now, and I'll leave him.
Ed says, I think Akers is taking the lead in that backfield when he returns. Hendo will for sure lose value, but will get work.
Yeah, I don't think that selling Henderson for a second when he's proven he can have fantasy value as a starter is a good idea. So you're probably not going to get what he's worth. You're kind of in a bind with Henderson. He's probably just a hold. Unless you're in a deep rebuild, and then you take what you can get.
Man, if we had more time, I'd go through these, but we don't. But
yeah, we got to go rapid
trades on the trade finder. Ryan says, what do we think about Antonio Gibson's dynasty outlook?
Similar to Rashad Bateman, there is a massive truther hive for Antonio Gibson, who is now going to be OC. He's a top 5 dynasty running back again, so he'll never be someone I have. I would sell.
I didn't see McKissick, his injury or any news on him today.
I saw an interview today that says that McKissick will be fine.
Okay.
So, no. And you know what the scariest thing about Antonio Gibson is? What if they replace McKissick with a much scarier version of McKissick?
Yeah.
And I think they will do that. So, no, I would sell. If you can trade Antonio Gibson for J.K. Dobbins plus in a rebuild, do it. Do it and thank me later. I think week 1, 2022, J.K. Dobbins is worth far more than Antonio Gibson, personally.
Yeah, absolutely.
J.K. Dobbins is twice the player.
We've talked about Chubb a lot here this week. For whatever reason, Indian says he's out on Chubb.
Can't blame you. He's about to turn 26, doesn't catch passes. The Browns are a disaster. I can't blame you.
FFP, what would you try and get for Madison if you were 6-6?
I mean, a first-round pick would be nice, but
yeah,
that's float him. Maybe Rondale Moore, Ayuk. I don't think he can get Ayuk, but Rondale Moore maybe is a good receiver to target. Tony would be another one. Receiver like that is sometimes better than getting a pick. You might get more value.
Ed says if Kene Nwangu can learn to read the D and hit the correct holes, watch the F out. Yeah.
Look, the way it works in Dynasty, you can pick up any running back and they have any value. They have trade value ever. So you stash running backs at the bottom of your bench because that's how you flip for picks.
Caleb with a Merry Christmas, gents. Yeah, I got my Christmas tree up this week. Is Mixon a sell this offseason, no matter rebuilding or contending?
Yeah, he's going to be because he's going to turn 26 in the offseason, and that's when I move on. He's had a great season, so he'll be a must sell basically for me this offseason. Yes. And a package to aim for, let's get to that when we get to the offseason, but it's going to be expensive. Yeah. I'm going to want something significant in return for moving Mixon, given the year he's had.
If he finishes the season out healthy, you're going to be able to get a good.
Yeah, I mean, I've ranked him for this week. Starts at RB2. So.
Yep. So Todd says Kene Nwangu couldn't even earn carries on his college team.
Yeah. How is that?
How
is that working out for, like Antonio Gibson couldn't earn carries on his college team. True. Because Kenneth Gainwell was so much better.
Yep.
And how is that going?
Drew says Saquon, Rondale, Lockett for Waddle and Fant.
I'll still take the Saquon side.
Yeah.
This is not.
Jared says, as a competitor, should I try to sell my 2 late first in this upcoming draft? Thinking of pairing one or both of the picks with Terry or Renfro.
No, we're not pairing them with Terry. We're not doing that. Who are you going to get?
Contender. I don't know that I want to move on from Renfro either.
No, not at all. Renfro is someone you want to hold on a contender. He has far more production value than trade value. So yeah, feel free to move your late first. Here's an idea, actually. Why don't you try to move your 2 late firsts for DK Metcalf?
Yeah, you want somebody that you're going to be getting in return that is going to continue to help you going forward, or else you're going to regret it.
Yeah.
And this is where you get cute and you're like, I got to trade my first, and then you end up trading him for somebody and regretting it.
If you're desperate, you can send the 2 firsts for potentially Stephon Diggs.
Appreciate the help, guys. Of course. Are you buying Ayuk after putting together 4 good weeks out of the last 5?
Of course not. If you wanted to buy Ayuk, the time was when he wasn't playing well. Not now. Now he's overvalued again.
Buying it from a standpoint of, I think he's a good wide receiver.
Yeah, but his ceiling is so low. It's tough.
Out of the doghouse, all that.
Yeah.
It says True Tide, Dawson Nix never scored a TD at OM, and he has turned into quite the tight end. So, yep.
Knox is the man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the one who's the featured player in that offense with the snap shares. He's the one who's always on the field. He's the one who doesn't come off.
Clue says a running back such as Marlon Mack, Penny, Jeff Wilson, etc., even worth rostering. Does free agency give them that much opportunity?
Wilson at this point is a handcuff. Sermon's probably out for the year with his injury. Hasty's been injured. So Wilson's a handcuff for now. Mack, probably worth a roster spot still. I still think that he has some juice left. Penny, no. Penny is not really worth a roster spot anymore.
He's the one you can drop him right now.
Yeah, you can drop him. No interest.
It depends on who's available. Sure. I think there's certain people that you can roster and just hope that they gain value in the offseason. But I don't know that any of these guys are must rosters for me. Eric, is Russell Wilson beginning to decline, or is this the massive overreaction?
Man, I want to say no, but I could see it. I am concerned, but he's going to be on a new team next year, and he's probably going to get another chance from the community, so I'm not too out on him.
Courtney, Justin Jefferson for DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, a second and a third.
Oh, no. Way too expensive. The package side.
Take the package. Jefferson's great,
way too expensive.
That's too much value.
Yeah, no, it's too expensive.
Todd says Eric Lyman Russell Wilson is still dealing with a hurt finger. I think it's true. I think he came back.
Wasn't that great anyway.
I think he came back too soon to try and save the season, and
he wasn't that great before, though. I don't know. I'm a little worried, but not overly so.
Craig says, how the hell are people getting first for Madison?
Happens.
It does happen.
Yeah.
Nicholas says, I got third in waivers, and I'm getting Nwangu back. Had him for a minute, but dropped him. Should I get him back?
Yes.
Definitely. He's one play away from being very relevant.
True.
Eric said, just looks so out of sync in Seattle.
He's not going to be in Seattle.
Daryl Henderson or Michael Carter. That's a good one.
Henderson, I guess, for now, because he's playing now.
Yeah, can't get a first for Madison. Tried. I'm going to keep him. He's only 23 anyway.
I'd continue trying to trade him.
Yeah. Just don't think he's ever going to be a feature back.
No, definitely not.
Outlook on Alvin Cook's future.
Oh, boy. If you want to talk about someone I'm out on, I'm more out on him than Barkley. I am not taking a 26-year-old running back who's currently injured, who will be 20, probably, I think he's going to miss the rest of the year. So he'll be 27 by the time he takes another fantasy snap, who has a sword, a legal sword hanging over his head for the entire offseason. That will not be on any of my dynasty teams. So dead to me. He's more dead. He's completely dead to me. It's like he doesn't exist. So I don't want any part of him. I won't touch him.
Jesse has picks 1, 3, 4, 5, late first, and pick 11 in a 10-team 1 QB, leaning to trading 2 of the mid first for CMC and drafting the rest of them.
He's not even worth that.
Probably not.
No.
And that's
I'd
crazy.
rather not.
Yeah.
I'd rather not.
Let's see. Henderson over Carter. Jesse's not out on CMC. Simon doing a 12-team startup for another Dynasty League soon.
We could do a whole show on this.
Yeah.
Typically, what pick do I feel most comfortable choosing from? That's something I have not thought about because I'm not in startup mode right now. And that changes every offseason.
The earlier the better, and try to trade back. That's just
not
always my go-to.
It's not always the earlier the better, but it often is. And then should I go for win now or target productive struggle? I tend to end up productive struggle, but I'm fine win now. Value. I mean, I'll take what works.
Value. Yep.
Don't go in with a set strategy.
Cal and Tyler, fire emoji. What's up, Coop?
I love Coop. Coop is the best. If anyone doesn't follow him on Twitter,
appreciate the Mr. Rogers of Twitter. Yep. Make sure you go.
Yeah, he's the nicest.
Joe Smith, 1 QB. I have Watson, Lance, Akers, Dobbins, Williams, and ETN. Just congratulations. Like, this is a great team.
Yeah, no, this is good. But could I contend? Sure, but this is not the kind of question that we can. It's hard to talk about whole teams on the show.
Yes, you can.
Yes, the better questions are specific trades, waiver ads, that kind of stuff. It's easier to just answer either or questions about player value.
Yeah, and we have so many questions that it's hard to.
Yeah, no, we probably won't stop down on whole teams.
Yeah, I've had to try to go hyper mode, and then we'll do a little bit of.
We can do a little bit of overtime, yeah, but we got to go hyper mode
because we have a lot.
Productive. I do like productive struggle.
Absolutely. Fantasy Condo, thanks so much, Cal and Tyler, for the show. Appreciate getting to listen Tuesdays or Wednesdays at work. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, a lot of people listen to the show Wednesday on the commute or at work, so I appreciate that.
Yep, paid a late 2022 second for Madison and Superflex. 12 teams that
do
good
what
value.
You got to do. If that's going to help you win a title, I'm fine with it. It's not an overpay. Fine with it.
Totally. And even as if I had Madison trying to get rid of him, I would take this. Like if I couldn't get anything else, and I understand your point, like you try to get more.
Yeah.
But I would take it.
Yeah, this is fine though. No issues.
If I've got no chance of winning this year, I'm taking.
Yeah, no issues with this one.
David, 12-team Superflex. Tannehill is my second QB. Is Taysom Hill worth 2 seconds? I don't think you have to pay that.
I'd rather not, but maybe.
I don't think I would. I
think it's too risky.
I think there's a chance that he earns the job next year. I
think that chance.
I know
is
most
minimal.
people think it's crazy. If he does, those 2 seconds are going to be a steal. But I think
Jameis Winston is their starter next year.
He's not signed.
I think he will be.
Simon says, Ed, so did you trade back and neglect QBs to get wide receivers, running backs, or tight ends?
I could do a whole show on this.
There's a really good video where Addison is interviewing Ryan about the productive struggle. If you don't even know what we're talking about, go watch that.
I watched that video, actually. Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
I think, right? 2 of them.
Yeah, no, I used to do this on my podcast that I used to do, Dynasty Duo with CJ. We talked about a lot of stuff like this. I haven't had the platform, the co-host, or the time during the season to talk about this type of stuff. And I let's just say that there's going to be a show coming that I do talk about this kind of stuff in the offseason. So look out for that.
Will said trade deadlines passed in my league, but with Dobbins talking on full court press and the owner when the offseason starts. Yeah.
Absolutely. Don't wait. Absolutely.
Ed avoided running backs up to score points. Yeah.
Good way to do a productive struggle is avoiding.
You need to get points off your roster. Yep.
Correct.
Especially running backs. And rookie quarterbacks went hard for lead. Yep. Really good. Yeah. Matt says, thanks for answering. Found y'all a few weeks ago, and it's a weekly watch. Great stuff every show.
Yeah, I wish we could really stop down and answer all the questions in detail. But if you ever want answers to the questions, I'm around on Twitter. So,
what's Mike Williams' value? Late second?
No, more than that.
More than that.
Yeah, more than that. But I don't know if I want to pay a first for him anymore. Probably not.
Not paying a first for him. No way.
But he's worth more than a late second.
Maybe 2 seconds.
Sure.
As for getting a guy off my roster, leading Aaron Jones, that's another good one. Yeah.
Aaron Jones, to me, I think AJ Dillon is, we're going to find soon that AJ Dillon is an equal timeshare. I have Aaron Jones lower than Elijah Mitchell. And I'm totally out on Aaron Jones. Totally out.
Superflex 10-man out of the playoffs straight away. Ayuk for Ridley.
Sorry, you made a mistake. If you're out of the playoffs, why on earth would you trade the younger player for the older one who may never play again? So that is a terrible idea. I wouldn't get
Ayuk. League made in rebuild traded Kelsey for a late first, Elijah Mitchell and Higbee. But he got fleeced at the time, but might work out.
Doesn't look fleeced. If this is not tight end premium, he doesn't look like he got fleeced now. He doesn't look like he got fleeced now.
He does think.
No, I mean, if this is not premium, I'm taking this package side. So I don't think he got fleeced.
Man, I guess so.
I'm taking the package side if it's not premium. If it's premium, I'd still go with Kelsey.
I think I still want Kelsey.
No.
I believed in CMC and Saquon up until now. I'm just really glad I decided to get 3 first for CMC. Whoa.
If CMC comes back and produces, I'm more likely to believe it because he's actually always been good when he's healthy. Saquon is dead to me.
Rob's also out on Kelsey. I have so many shares of Travis Kelsey. Like I'm just the
Kelsey's
guy
Kelsey's like CMC, just without, it's not injuries. It's like he produces more than his trade value. So it is what it is. But yes, if you're in a rebuild or you don't think you're a strong contender, yes, move on.
Luke wants to know if you should cash out on Tyreek Hill next year. Not a guy I want to ride out. I think he will fall off quickly once his speed diminishes. I'd rather be out a year.
Careful with thinking the speed is going to diminish. Is Deshaun Jackson still fast?
He sure is. Goodness gracious.
Careful with that. You can do it if you're interested in a rebuild, but I'm not so quick to move Tyreek Hill.
We know they want to add more options.
They do, but I
don't mind trading Tyreek Hill, but
I better get
a great return.
Yeah, I better get a good return. Otherwise, I'm not going to trade him.
In a half PPR, would you move Deontay for the 101 in 2022?
I'll take Deontay.
I'll take Deontay too. I
don't think there's going to be in a 1 QB. I don't think there's going to be a single player that I like better. In a super flex, I'd assume I'm going to have a quarterback I want more, so I would take the 101.
Do you want to do 30 seconds on Judy?
Sure. I'm concerned. Can't not be. Judy's value, I don't know. I'm never moving him because I like his talent, but concerned, very concerned. Not acceptable what's going on in Denver. And if they don't get a quarterback, they're all dead. So they better. They need a quarterback at this point to save their value.
I think they will. And Judy, in my opinion, is their best wide receiver. So I think they will. Yes, Pitman, we've talked a lot about Pitman, I think, already. What running back could I get for Marquis Brown and a first?
Oh, you better get someone very good.
You better get somebody really good.
I mean, Eckler, at least.
Gosh.
Minimum. Kamara.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably what you're going for, right? If you're giving this up.
Javonte. Go get Javonte.
Oh, yeah, I would love to do that.
So Zeke's contract is through the next 38 years. How do you actually expect him to start at Dallas?
Next couple. But just because he's starting doesn't mean he's an RB1. I don't think Zeke is an RB1 anymore.
T. Higgins and Elijah Mitchell for Najee Harris.
No.
Harris.
No. In redraft, I'll take Higgins and Mitchell.
Yeah, redraft, yes. I agree.
In Dynasty, I'll take Harris because I'm confident.
Yep. Worth stashing Ernest Johnson for next year? No.
I would say yes. A talented running
starter.
It is what it is, though. You have a lot of roster spots, deep bench. Who else are you stashing? He showed that he can play. What are you going to do? I wouldn't risk dropping him to waivers.
Eric's starting to sour on Judy. Yeah. I just think it's a bad situation right now.
It's bad, but I'll go with the youngest guy.
Ditto, Eric. But if they upgraded Rodgers next year, then you're, I think, crazy. Maybe
gravy. And I don't know. I will say Rodgers won't save them all. He will not save Noah failure.
He won't. But Brady kind of did that in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, no. Evan Ingram 2.0 is a no thank you for me.
Thinking about moving Elijah Mitchell for either Hockenson or Mark Andrews in a rebuild. Do I need to add more?
No. You should be able to get Hockenson straight up. Andrews, you probably can't.
Yeah, I'd prefer to add Andrews.
So would I. But I think you're not going to be able to get Andrews. Hockenson, I think you can.
Eric sold Gibby for 2 first. That's good.
Fine with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't take Elijah for my Andrews. Andrews is so good.
Yeah, keep Andrews.
Best waiver wire stash for next year. There's so much. It's hard to.
Kenny Nwangu is a good one. If you want to go, how deep do you want to go? He's one of the ones I'm really looking at. I don't know. I think Cedric Wilson has shown enough that he's gonna have something somewhere. He shouldn't be on waivers. Marquez Valdes-Scantling has actually been half decent, and he's a free agent. He's probably going to get some sort of contract somewhere. And I would keep my eye. It's a couple other guys I would keep my eye on, but those are a couple. I still have some hope for Kylan Granson, actually. You see the Colts tight end usage.
Good idea, Will. Let's go. I'm offering the Dobbins owner Gibson. It is. Yep, that's what I would do. 2022 first, mid-late for Aaron Jones.
I can tell you, I don't in one QB, sure, but in a super flex, I don't even want to do that.
I don't think he's worth a first in
I don't want to do that. He's overrated. AJ Dillon looks just as good.
Miles Sanders.
Good pivot. I was just talking about AJ Dillon.
Yeah.
AJ Dillon looks good. AJ Dillon looks really good. And it's hard to deny it at this point.
Miles Sanders does not.
No. Injured again. And Boston Scott led the backfield in touches. I'll pass on Miles Sanders. He can be someone else's problem.
Josh Jacobs, Raiders look messy.
The new coaching staff actually likes Jacobs better than the old one, but who knows what the new coaching staff is going to think. Josh Jacobs, he is what he is. He's a plotter. He's fine in the volume.
Josh Jacobs is younger, he's younger than so many people. I can't even believe
Josh Jacobs is what? February 9th, 1998 or something?
He's the same age as Elijah Mitchell right now.
Yeah.
How? That's crazy.
He's a month older than Harris.
Tyler, you say Cook is dead to you in a 16-team Superflex PPR. Would you trade Cook for CEH, a second and a third?
No. The problem is that this trade adds more failure onto my team. I can't have failure. We don't want that. Clyde Edwards failure. I don't want more failure. So No, I want better than that.
We talked about Fournette a bit. First or second. Yeah.
He's worth a first. You're not getting him for less.
First. I do think he maintains the lead back role going into next year.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't they? He's been so good. Why would you go away from someone who's been good?
Last question. Are we starting Madison, Hubbard, or Mitchell?
You have to play Mitchell and Madison this week.
Tune back in. Yeah. Tune back in later in the week.
Find a way to get Mitchell and Madison in your lineup. Hubbard is on bye, so you're not starting him, and he's not a startable asset anyway.
Thank everybody for tuning in. Tyler, any last words?
No, I just appreciate everyone for tuning in, watching the show. All of the comments, there were many.
Yep.
Many questions, discussions too. I always like discussions in the chat and on top of the questions. And yeah, just it's definitely seemed like switching to 9 p.m. Eastern start instead of 8:30 has been better for people. And we're gonna stick with that going forward, and because it's been great. And as always, I just thank everyone for watching. I thank everyone who tuned in to my special one-time only Sunday morning start sit show this week. The chat there was busy. I didn't have any advanced questions planned. So for everyone who watched that, thanks for tuning in then. And we'll continue to be here every week. I'm feeling better if that isn't clear. Mm-hmm. So
thank you to
everyone for that.
Make sure you follow Tyler on Twitter. He just needs some more followers, man. Just so underfollowed. And follow me at Calvin Hobby.
Follow Cal. He needs.
Check out my pinned tweet. Like I really would like everybody. I didn't want to get into it on the show. Check out my pinned tweet. It's a little girl that got brain cancer. My wife's company is doing something amazing for her, which is
let me hit that with a retweet when I'm gonna hit that with a retweet when we get off to spread the word about that, because that sounds like something important that
it's really cool
to hear about.
Yep.
So I hope that you all check out Cal or my timeline to check that out, because charity and supporting causes that we care about is Scott Fishbowl, that kind of stuff it's important to both of us. So
watch the video I posted. It's less than a minute and it's well worth it. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great week. Good luck in your matchups. Make that push to the play.